Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Here.
Carter. Cowart.
Present.
Crane.
Here.
Esri. Barty.
Here.
Fava. Portado. Hanauer Friedman. Lockshin.
Here.
Hugh.
Present.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Rogers.
Present.
Settles. Sexton.
Here.
Solar.
Here.
Vantage Theornot. Wiggs. Wilson. Harris.
Here.
Locke.
Here.
We have a quorum. All right. In lieu of tonight's prayer, I would like us to observe a moment of silence in honor of former County Board member LaShondra Hambrick, who passed away earlier this month. Ms. Hambrick served from 2000 to 2011. So if you would, please. Will everyone please stand for the pledge? Will the clerk please read the notice of the meeting?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on May 21st, 2026, 6:30 p.m. in the Shields Carter Meeting Room, Benton Administrative Center, 102 East Main Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees, and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting, which said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, motion from Ed. Can we have a second? Second, Mr. Sullard.
Yes, I have an amendment to offer to move item 17E between consent agenda and presentation, and item 18B1 to follow the ARPA broadband presentation.
Right, we have a motion to amend. Ms. Ars, did you? Okay, all right, we got a second for the amended resolution. All in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All in favor of the amended agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have an agenda. Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-104, appointing William Scholl as a county board member in District 7 to fill Eric Thorsland's unexpired term ending November 30, 2026. Motion by Locke, second by Sullard. Would someone like to read the resolution?
I do have a friendly amendment I'd like to.
Oh, go ahead.
Title says District 6, and it should say District 7 at the heading.
My apologies, District 7. I think I said 7, but okay.
You did. It says it in the
All right.
agenda, but the title of the resolution says 6. And just to FYI, it's pronounced
All right.
Shell.
Shall. All right, we will correct that. Would someone like to read the resolution?
Here we are.
Whereas Eric Thorsland, a county board member in District 7 for Champaign County with a term ending November 30th, 2026, submitted his resignation from that office effective May 8th, 2026. And whereas pursuant to 10 ILCS 525-11, when a vacancy occurs in any elective county office, the county board shall declare that the vacancy exists, and notification thereof shall be given to the county central committee of each established political party, and the vacancy shall be filled within 60 days by appointment of the county board chair with the advice and consent of the county board. And whereas notification of the vacancy was sent to the county central committee of each established political party on April 24th, 2026, and whereas pursuant to the recommendation from the Democratic Central Committee, the county board chair recommended the appointment of William Schell to fill the unexpired term of county board member in District 7, and whereas the county board chair also recommends the appointment of William Schell to serve as a member of the Environment and Land Use Committee replacing Eric Thorsland, and now therefore be it resolved by the County Board of Champaign County that the appointment of William Schell to fill the unexpired term ending November 30th, 2026 of Champaign County Board member District 7 is hereby approved. Be it further resolved that William Schell is appointed as a member of the Environment and Land Use Committee, presented, passed, and approved and recorded this 21st day of May, 2025.
Thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Will. Okay, the deputy chief will administer the oath. All right, the date and time of the next regular meetings are listed in the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-105, honoring county employees for years of service? Motion by Lokshin, second by Farney. I will read the resolution, as both chair and vice chair for this committee are absent tonight. Whereas it is the vision of the Champaign County Board to be a recognized leader in public government, where every official and employee has a personal devotion to excellence in public service and embraces the highest standards of ethics and integrity, which enables Champaign County to provide the best customer service to its citizens. And whereas one element of pursuing this vision is communicating to employees that their service to Champaign County is valued and appreciated. And whereas Champaign County employees admirably serve the people of Champaign County with full commitment to the responsibilities of county offices, work in partnership with fellow employees and county officials, and have dedication to the best interests of all the peoples of Champaign County. And whereas the Champaign County Board wishes to recognize the dedication and service of the employees who have reached 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25-year milestones in May 2026. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Board of Champaign County hereby recognizes each of the aforementioned Champaign County employees as an asset to the citizens of Champaign County and expresses gratitude and sincere appreciation for their years of service. All right, the names of our employees. We have Alicia Williams with Probation and Courts, Tanya Wizorek, Sheriff's Office, Tristan Ray, Sheriff's Office, Megan Robeson, County Executive, John Dwyer, Emergency Management Agency, Melissa Jameson, Probation and Court Services, Maureen Thompson, Circuit Clerk. At this time, we'll kind of go down the list. Would Ms. Siders like to come forward to talk about her employees.
Good evening. My name's Shannon Siders. I'm the director of the Probation and Court Services Department. I have 2 employees on the list tonight. This is my 5th month of this in a row. I think I don't have anybody else until November, so you guys won't be seeing me again in this role for a while. But I wanted to talk about both Alicia and Melissa. Alicia has 5 years of full-time employment. She's a JDC supervisor, but she's actually been in our JDC family for a lot longer. Her mom started to work at JDC when she retired from the military, so her mom did a full military career and then started working out at JDC in 2013 when Ed was still working out at JDC. And so I worked with her mom for quite a long time, so I heard a lot about Alicia from her mom as she was growing up. And then in 2015, Alicia started working part-time at JDC in our Master Control Center. She did that for about a year, and then she went to school to get her bachelor's. She then came back to JDC in March of 2021 as part-time in our Master Control, and then she became full-time in May of 2021. So Alicia became a supervisor almost 2 years ago. So she's just got 5 years of full-time, and she's been a supervisor for 2 years now. So some of her responsibilities include the master control schedule right now. So she sets up the schedule. She hires all the employees to work at our master control center. She does all of she organizes and makes sure all of our staff have their training hours. So our staff have to have 40 hours of training each year, and Alicia makes sure that all of them have their 40 hours. AOIC has all kinds of different courses they have to take, and they're in different locations. So it's a lot to manage to make sure that 30 people have their 40 hours of training. So Alicia has done a fantastic job in making sure all of our staff do that. She also does a lot of our new hire work. She gets our interviews set up. She does background checks on potential new employees. She sets up their psychological evaluations. And because of Alicia's work, I'm happy to say tonight that we have a new person starting on the 26th and another new person starting on the 1st, and that will completely staff JDC fully for the first time in I don't even know how long, but JDC will be fully staffed, and we've also gotten our PREA coordinator hired, and she'll be starting at the end of June. So JDC will be fully staffed as of next week. And a lot of that is because of the work Alicia has put in to making sure we're getting interviews scheduled and people called back and all those steps. So Alicia has done a lot of work for us, and her work ethic, comes from her mom, who worked a full career in the military and then came and worked at JDC as a second career after finishing a career in the military. So Alicia is not here tonight. She's on a vacation with her family. She worked Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So Alicia is one of the supervisors covering for Jessica, who you met last month, who just had a baby. And so Jessica's out for the next 12 weeks. So Alicia is one of the supervisors who's covering Jessica's shifts. So Alicia is covering a lot of shifts right now, in addition to all the other duties I mentioned that she has to do. So she's on a brief vacation, and she'll be back on Monday, but she couldn't make it. But I wanted to talk about Alicia because she's done a lot of work at JDC that's been really beneficial to the department. And then I also wanted to talk about Melissa Jameson, who has been with the county for 20 years this month, but she's actually only been in our office for almost a year of that time. Melissa had worked most of her time in the state's attorney's office. I got to know her then because we used to send reports to her in the state's attorney's office when I worked out at JDC. So I became familiar with Melissa through when I was working out at JDC and Melissa was at the state's attorney's office. But she joined our office right around a year ago, and she's been an excellent addition to our front desk. She does a lot of our phones, checking clients in when they arrive for appointments. And to have somebody who had 19 years of experience when we hired her was really lucky for us, because somebody who knows about G&O, somebody knows how to run leads. You don't have to explain all of that stuff to somebody who's been working in the courthouse for 19 years already. So it was a really great catch for us to get Melissa in our office. She's come in, she's been organizing supplies and keeping track of supplies. She's in charge of all of our shredding. She scans documents quickly. She's very dependable, and she's not here tonight because she's at a softball game for one of her kids. So neither of them my employees can make it, but they do a great job in our department, and we are very grateful to have them. So thank you.
All right, Ms. Hanson, would you like to come up to speak about Maureen Thompson?
Thank you. I'm Lori Hanson. I'm the court administrator, and I'm here to recognize Maureen Thompson for a quarter century with the county. She has been a dedicated employee that entire time. She started in May of 2001 in the circuit clerk's office as a legal clerk, and then in 2005 she moved to the circuit court, where she's been a court clerk ever since. As a testament to what a great employee she is, the judge she worked with for how many years? 12 years, who is now retired, Judge Clemens, came, and her current judge, Judge Holloman, both came to support her tonight, and that's because we all love Maureen. She's the kind of person who everybody wants her as an employee, and you never want to let her go. She is dedicated. She is trustworthy. I'm getting choked up. I'm so happy that she has stayed with us. It is not easy being a court clerk. I've never been one, but I have sat with Maureen in the courtroom before, and the eviction, small claims, first appearances are kind of nutty. A lot of people coming in and going out and scheduling and papers everywhere, and it's total chaos. But I was so impressed watching Maureen calmly take her notes, answer emails, check Jano, check the calendar, just steady and professional. I also had asked Judge Clemens, when I realized Maureen's anniversary was coming up, to share a few words, and I'd like to read some of what she wrote. Judge Clemens said, "Maureen is smart, honest, kind, dedicated, loyal, funny, and extremely hardworking." I don't think anyone could have said it better. And Maureen is someone who anticipates what needs to be done before she's even asked. She's on top of everything. And I just want to say thank you, Maureen, for the 25 years. And thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-106 honoring retiring county employees? Motion by Locke, second by Jamala. I will read the resolution. Whereas it is the vision of the Champaign County Board to be a recognized leader in local government where every official and employee has a personal devotion to excellence in public service and embraces the highest standards of ethics and integrity, which enables Champaign County to provide the best customer service to its citizens. And whereas one element of pursuing this vision is communicating to employees that their service to Champaign County is valued and appreciated. And whereas Champaign County employees admirably serve the people of Champaign County with full commitment to the responsibilities of county offices, work in partnership with fellow employees and county officials, and have dedication to the best interests of all the people of Champaign County. And whereas the Champaign County Board wishes to recognize the dedication and service of the employees who will be retiring in May 2026. Now therefore be resolved that the Champaign County Board recognizes each of the aforementioned retiring Champaign County employees as an asset to the citizens of Champaign County and expresses gratitude and sincere appreciation for their years of service. All right, Curtis Apperson, Sheriff's Office, 33 years. And Wesley Miller, Physical Plant, 25 years. All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to public input. First one up is Jason Elliott Benda.
Jason Benda, 1506 Lincolnshire Drive. I have moved slightly since I was last here. I still live in District 4, though I am in the same precinct as our new board member. I recognize that standing up here, I can't address an individual board member directly, but I would say to new member Shell, welcome to the board. You have big shoes to fill. Mr. Thorsland was a very strong voice on this board, and you have a lot of work to do to fill his position, and I wish you well. Before I continue, I should disclose that I am a county employee in the physical plant division of the Office of the County Executive. The nomenclature keeps changing on me, but that's what it is today. Also, I have in the past served on a board subcommittee for which I received the board's per diem as per board rules. I bring both of those things up as I go to talk about the pay of electeds that's coming up later on the agenda. I wish to thank profusely Mr. Farney for his research and his work preparing the board for this discussion and examining what our peer counties are doing. I agree with many of the things that Mr. Farney said. And specifically, I agree that we should look at those counties that have independently elected county board chairs as peers to our county executive. Certainly, the state regulations about home rule require a chief executive officer in the county and count either one of those positions as that. So certainly those are peers that we may have in other counties. I understand the arguments that we are in terrible financial straits. We all know this. We've all heard this. It's not a fun thing to look at the electorate and have the electorate tell you that they want you to cut services. At the same time, I think that the points are valid to argue that we need to properly compensate the people who do the work for the county, whether they be our hourly employees, our union employees, or our elected officials. When we the people elect department heads, we are not just electing people to fulfill a specific role named by an office. We are electing department heads. We are electing people who need to prepare a budget for their department and propose a budget to the board. We are electing people who need to manage employees and supervise employees and in charge of hiring and firing employees. These are duties that we elect these people to do. And I think it is important that these people be compensated fairly. I think it is honestly a travesty that our county executive salary is so low compared to the other elected officials, the other elected department heads that we have. I will also say that I think it is crucial that when we consider these offices, we separate the office from the occupant of the office. One of the comments that has been made is that people need to know what they're getting into when they decide to run for these offices, whether it be board members such as yourselves or whether it be the elected department heads. In light of that, I would like to make a suggestion to this board, not relevant today, but in the future, that the board consider these salaries for these positions and these per diems for county board members about 7 months earlier. Specifically, so that these numbers might be set prior to the filing of nominating petitions, so that people can make decisions about running for office before they have to file the nominating petitions, and because frankly, it is a bad look when all the nominations have been made, we have a good idea who these people are going to become, and then we're setting their salaries. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speaker is Gabriel Dunn.
Okay, my name is Gabriel Dunn. Live at 602 West Illinois Street in Urbana, so not sure which county board district I'm in yet, but anyway, I totally appreciate our county employees. I'm glad to hear about the wonderful progress that's been made at the JDC. Where I disagree is that I differentiate between elected officials and the county employees. For the simple fact is, if you are running for office and your primary concern is how you're going to get paid, I'm questioning why you should be in office. This is a public service. I do believe that, elected officials should be paid, whether, how much, that can be debatable. I don't believe that, we should be, when we're telling your regular county employees that they need to tighten their belts because there's no money there. We're telling RPC there's no money. We're telling Head Start there's no money. But all of a sudden there's money for the county executive to give him or herself a raise. The difference between the regular, public employees and even private employees is that we can't vote ourselves a raise. We earn that raise. Now, my whole thing is if the goal is okay, county employees and yes, county board members deserve a raise, okay, let's get our fiscal house in order so we aren't telling everyone that there's no money. Because it just sounds like there's no money for you, there's money for us, but not for you. And that just does not sound right. It doesn't sound right to the average taxpayer. And I'd say I'm a little softer on, your regular county board members. And there was mention about, the cost of childcare and everything. I would say that that's different than, a county-wide office where I'm hearing people are making six figures. 6 figures? I mean, our state representatives and state assemblymen aren't making that much. And they do a lot more, I would say. So I'm honestly opposed to any increase I do believe that there should be a freeze for all county-wide elected officials. I would probably say, it's different if you're just regular county board per diem, because that's different. But I would say just there needs to be a hard freeze on salary increases until we can get our fiscal house in order. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Susan McGrath.
Good evening. Steve mentioned our dear former colleague, LaShonda Hambrick, in his remarks this evening, and both he and I attended her funeral today. And I do have with me the program from her funeral for anybody who would like to see it, because LaShunda was more than just a board member. She was an integral part of her community, as her family has been for many years. LaShunda was smart, she was educated, she was knowledgeable about many things outside of her area of education, but she was also caring and compassionate and somebody who gave of herself always. People sometimes mistook her gentle and giving nature and underestimated her as to what she was able to do and how she could perform. LaShunda was both on the county board and the nursing home board of directors for a long time, and only ill health prevented her from continuing in those responsibilities. But people who underestimated her did not know that she was a righteous woman. And a righteous woman is a great representative for the people and for her family and everybody around her. Her little niece got up at the funeral today and talked about how LaShunda was her mentor, took her to breakfast every Monday, took her to the library, went to different events with her, made her feel special, made her know that she could do anything that she sent her mind to. And somebody who can do that is somebody special and somebody who we should honor and revere, both as people who served with her, people who knew her and her family, and people who were blessed by her presence. It's hard for me to think that somebody only 63 years old is no longer with us. But when I was on the county board, we had a tradition that I actually would like to see our county board continue, and that was at every meeting, we would pass the envelope to collect money for cards and flowers to help our county board colleagues who were sick or in trouble, or to recognize them when they passed away. We kept up with the folks who were no longer with us. We made sure that we attended memorials or funerals for them. We went to visit them when they were in a nursing home. We made them feel that they were recognized for what they did and contribution to their community. So what we heard today at the funeral, which is still true for all of us, is you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You're not guaranteed the opportunity to remember somebody sometimes until it's too late. But LaShunda was a shining example of caring and giving, somebody whose example we can all follow, somebody who was so special and made me feel so privileged to know her. And so I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak of our friend and colleague, and for giving time to remember her and the special person that she was. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Are there any other members of the public that wish to address the board tonight? Seeing none, I'm going to close public input. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, motion from Farney, second by Cagle. Will the clerk please call the roll?
I have an amendment, Steve.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Sollard.
I move to remove item C4 and place it in the agenda under 16A4. I'll have a comment on that when we get to it.
That you're pulling C4, and at what point did you want to include that in the agenda?
I would put it 16A4, so after the salaries.
After salaries, okay. Right. That portion of consent is now off and on the regular agenda. Will the clerk now please call the roll?
Cagle. Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Crane.
Yes.
Barney.
Yes.
Furtado. Lakshan.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Rogers.
Yes.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Sollard.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, next on our amended agenda, we have adoption of resolution 2026-110, approving award of contract to Tom Davis Electric for the photovoltaic system installation project pursuant to ITB 2026-004. Ms. Jett is going to address this.
GHR is here if we have any technical questions.
Do we need a motion before we have discussion?
Yeah, please. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Locke, second by Cagle. A motion and a second. Go ahead. Discussion.
What's to hear from Ms. Jett?
Anything on the technicalities? I'm going to bring up the expert because I'm definitely not talking about the technicalities of installing these panels. I'm just much more interested in that document that has all our savings, so. We had 2 bids, one local, one not local. The local one is also a union shop. So we're asking to award the contract to that bid. We're also wanting to award both projects to them. We could split it, but then we would run the risk of having different types of systems installed because it would be 2 separate contractors. We'd also have to manage 2 separate contractors, 2 separate projects, and then dealing with 2 separate vendors in the event that there's issues later on after installation. And again, like I said, the one we're asking to award it to is the local company that would be using local Champaign County labor. Another piece, we don't need to decide right now. I think we need to finalize in the budget process, but while you have the numbers in front of you, I'm just going to reiterate, looking at that, what my ask is. So the column that's the SREC payments for both projects that go over 6 years, I'm asking that we use that to pay back the $400,000 that we need to borrow from the general fund, and the items that are the direct pay ITC and the smart inverter rebate, which are lump sum payments that would come sooner, are rolled into our next green project so we can keep this work going. And again, that's not part of the decision-making you need to make tonight. I think if we finalize that, when we finalize the budget, we're fine, but I just wanted to bring it up while you have the numbers in front of you.
Locke.
This isn't a question, this is a thank you. I know from facilities, I know from our time on this board, and I know from being a homeowner that electricity is crazy expensive and we hemorrhage money with our very large buildings. So thank you to everyone in the county who is involved in finding a way for us to bring some of that back, to find a way for us to be more responsible environmentally and financially. Thank you.
Thank you. I also wanted to I want to thank our maintenance team for being very enthusiastic and willing to figure this out. And I also want to specifically thank the sheriff and Shannon and Tish over at JDC for being willing to embark on this adventure with us. I know picking our 2 detention facilities is a bit of a swing, but they're also our 2 facilities that use the most electricity and also have the land to put these. So it made the most sense. Really? I mean, Lucas is going to be hurt. You got no technical questions for him.
Apparently not.
Okay, all right, okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in the audience as well. Thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to our presentation From Volo, Jason Young.
Actually, I think Peter Falk is.
Peter Falk.
Yeah.
Jason was a bit under the weather and asked me to take it, which is great because I actually didn't know that he was going to do it in the first place. So I'd planned for it, so it's fine. My name is Peter Folk. I run Volo Broadband, also known as Volo Internet and Tech, and also Volo Energy Solutions. So we didn't bid on the solar thing there. We are here to talk about the county's broadband initiatives, which have ended up kind of funneling through us. This has been a really fascinating project, and I think it started in 2021. So it's 5 years now that it's been moving forward. You may or may not recall that it was initially brought to the board by the Farm Bureau, and it is currently primarily targeted at, it's targeted at closing the digital divide within Champaign County. I would say the goal is to completely close the digital divide in Champaign County, whether the divide is due to income or due to facilities or due to knowledge or training. The Broadband Task Force, I believe, believes all of those things are part of its purview and wants to solve those. We're not handling all of those things, but we are in support of all of them, and we're trying to move all of those efforts forward. We have one main project that's underway that's covered by both county, state, and soon federal. We hope soon federal funds, and one smaller project that is also underway with county funds. The main project is the rural broadband project. So the goal of that project, in the biggest scope, is to bring fiber internet to every premise in rural Champaign County. Basically, every premise that doesn't have it now, we want to enable that throughout the county. I think originally that was estimated to be an $80 million project. Time moves on, so it's probably even more now. The first phase of that is what's called phase 1. That was awarded by the county board, and it became a state-funded thing as well through the state's Connect Illinois Round 3. Its goal is, if you imagine the county seal there, is if you imagine the screen is Champaign County, which is roughly rectangular, and you imagine that Champaign-Urbana is kind of in the middle. The goal is to build a ring around Champaign-Urbana that is separated from Champaign-Urbana by a few miles, basically through the no man's land that doesn't have coverage now, which makes it a lot easier to branch off of that and serve premises. In addition, it will serve premises directly along the route in this phase 1. That's the phase that is currently under construction now, and it was funded with $4.7 million of county ARPA funds and $7.1 million of state funds and some VOLA funds that I don't remember what those are. The biggest challenge with rural fiber in Illinois is that, unlike most states, the property owners own to in rural areas, most of the property owners own to the center line of the road, and you have to get their permission to run your infrastructure, even though it may be in public right-of-way. You can drive down the road, but you can't put a fiber down the road without getting an agreement with them. In the corporate world, they normally kind of sidestep that. They just kind of do it and hope that nobody complains. But one of the, I'll say, advantages and disadvantages of this coming from the Farm Bureau is that the rights of rural property owners were one of the key things that we have been trying to protect and make sure that everybody gets to their chance to see what we're doing and give that access if they're able, and we'll work with them as much as we can to make that possible. The result is, to do this phase 1 project, we needed about 550, actually I think it was 562 in the end, separate easements from separate property owners, most of which are in the area, but many of which don't even live on their land. It's farmland for the most part. Many of them are completely not local. They're, we are working with an organization out of Utah that has a lot of farmland, and so that's been a huge challenge. We initially estimated that it would take us roughly 3 months to get to the 80% threshold. 80% threshold of those easements, which is where we felt comfortable beginning construction, and it took us about a year and maybe 13 months roughly to get to that point. The biggest problem was not that people don't want the thing. The biggest problem was getting to actual contact with the people. So I'm sure you've gotten kind of crazy letters in the mail. You'll get a crazy letter from us. It may be certified, so we're trying to make it important, but for a lot of people, that's just not something that they're really caring about. So at this point, we are under construction. It started in May, the first week of May. We have one primary contractor working now, and we'll have a second one starting around the 1st of June. We expect that construction to be ongoing through the end of, primarily the end of July for the underground portion, and then we'll continue to do fiber installation and signing up and hooking up of customers through the end of September. Our current goal is to be done by the end of September, and I think we're pretty close to on track for that. The biggest unknown at this point is when the electronics that we're putting on it will arrive. We don't have a firm date on that yet, so we'll see when that happens, and hopefully it won't delay things. Hopefully it won't delay them at all. Phase 2, which is funded with $4.7 million of county funds, and I think another 3 of the Volo's putting forward in it. I think the budget has actually grown a little bit, so it's more than 3 now, but that was the original plan. Things get more expensive over time, though. That project is also now underway. We now have our list of people that we're trying to acquire easements from, and we are hoping that that goes a lot more smoothly, because now we know, first of all, how long we have. We have about 2 months to get to do that, and we know the process that works. And we know that, unfortunately, if we can't reach somebody, and then we're just going to move forward with with basically we basically can condemn the land through eminent domain, and we have to go through it anyway. We've avoided that so far in phase 1, and we want to avoid it in phase 2. So we encourage anybody listening who happens to get one of these letters in the mail, we hope they will respond, because that's the key. We're paying for these easements, to be clear. We pay above market rate, above what the appraised value is for the property. So there's, it for the most part, increases people's property value by quite a lot. When we first started doing fiber infrastructure in 2007 and 2012, in that time frame, a realtor organization did a study, and they found that fiber infrastructure next to your property increased your property value by 3 to 5%. The most recent update to that figure is 12 to 15%. So if you have a home that is not able to get connectivity, you're going to suffer if you try and sell that home. So this is really a real boon for Champaign County. All of those properties will be more valuable when they sell. So the third phase is somewhat confusingly called 2B, and that's because it's funded by a federal program called BEAD. That program has not yet been awarded by the federal government to the state of Illinois. State of Illinois and California are the only 2 states which have not had their federal funds awarded to them. We've been kind of waiting. We're no longer holding our breath for that, though we don't have any indication that it won't happen. And honestly, it hasn't changed our timelines at all at this point. So we do hope that they get it done quickly, though, because it would help us plan if we could get started on that. So that one is actually bigger. So I talked about building a backbone. Phase 2A builds off that backbone in northwestern Champaign County, and Phase 2B builds off that backbone in a lot of other areas. It kind of centralizes on the eastern side of the county mostly, but it actually hits a bunch of other places. The places that still aren't covered at the end of that time frame, we'll be back to the drawing board and figure out plans for that. We have some ideas that we're knocking around that we can talk about more in a couple years when we're done with Phase 2B. The other component is called VCHAP, and that component is focused on rural connectivity, urban connectivity, and we're working with the Housing Authority of Champaign County on that. And originally, we were focused on putting Wi-Fi, but just the wireless part in as many of the county's facilities as we could afford, basically. We tried a bunch of different things to make that flow, and mostly for logistical reasons related to, I would say, ownership of the properties that they manage. It wasn't moving forward. So we have found a great, what I believe is actually potentially a better path forward, a pivot to that. We are still working on some of the funding for that, but it just happened that as we were trying to resolve this problem, Mark Tolson from the city of Champaign reached out to us about a grant that they had gotten that they were having trouble implementing that was on the very similar idea. And so we've been able to roll the county's funds together with the city of Champaign's. Well, to be clear, the city of Champaign is still waiting on state approval for that to happen. So the current plan is that we will be able to roll their funds in with the county's funds to do that project. And instead of doing a kind of a spread distribution of just the wireless component, which it's valuable that the little box that does this normally costs between $500 and $1,000, but it doesn't solve an immediate problem and get rid of a bill that you might already have for many people. Whereas with the new process, we will actually be able to eliminate the internet bills for at least 50 of the people in the housing authorities. In one of their complexes, we picked the one that they said this was the one that they wanted us to focus on, so that's the one we're focused on. So this is pretty exciting because that's for a long time been the thing that I remember a City of Champaign council meeting in 2012 where they were talking about all these things that the project that was going on at that time was doing to solve the digital divide, but they weren't paying for internet service. And that's at the end of the game, if you're dealing with trying to close a digital divide that's based on income, probably it's related to what they're paying every month. And this completely solves that problem for at least the first 50 of those are solved with this project. And that's the first step, and we hope to build on it in the future. That's my overview. I guess I'll say one more thing and then open it up. So in kind of support of phase one, we have 4 kind of technological touch-a-truck outreach activities planned. And the first one is June 9th at Fort Harris Park. So you can see the equipment that we're using to put this stuff in. I don't know if they're going to let us, drive it and like poke it in the ground and that kind of stuff. We'll see. It's still up in the air. We have some fiber-related games that you can play. I believe there will be fiber-related things you can take home, and you can also either splice a fiber or you do some testing on fiber that if you want to mess with this stuff. So it'll all be there, and you can check that stuff out. So you guys would all be welcome to come by and check that out on June 9th between 5:30 and 7:30 at Fort Harris Park. There are 3 more planned for the rest of the summer, and those are in your notes in case you missed the first one. And with that, that's my summary, and I open it up for the rest for questions.
Questions from the board? Go ahead, Stephanie.
So did you say that Phase 2 is $4.7 million from the county?
Correct.
And you're
Phase
still
2A.
working on easements. You said for Phase 1 you needed 582 easements, 80% of that in order to proceed. How many easements are you anticipating that you need for Phase 2?
650.
How many do you have?
We don't have any on that one. It's just started. It's going to be a challenge, but we.
So I've done a lot of projects that have easement work, and the idea that you are going to go from easement work to full construction in 6 months, which is when this money has to be paid, is that's not doable. I'm just going to be blunt. And if you do eminent domain, I've never seen an eminent domain case that's less than 3 months, and if it's contested, it's a year. So I don't understand how, in any practical sense, that $4.7 million is going to be spent. And when
Okay.
it has to be spent by the end of the year. I mean, I have a lot of sympathy. I understand how hard easements are. Like I said, I've done a lot of projects that are in easements. Anytime I've had a project that had easement work, I've at least thought a year. And to be honest with you, sometimes 2 years for easement work. But I don't see how there's a construction schedule that goes from no easement to construction by December.
Well, it's going to be a challenge, but we believe that we'll succeed in it, and the basis of that is as follows. So when we did the first round of easements, we got about 50% of them in 2 months. We also didn't really know the process that we know now, and we didn't have staffing that had done that before. We now have a tooled up team that knows what they're doing on that, and we hope to get similar response in the areas. We're also serving more of the homes that it's more homes and less uninhabited properties on this second project, and normally the homes are more responsive. We also, while I understand that the eminent domain processes that you've dealt with have taken 3 months, we don't anticipate these to take quite that long. We expect them to be about a month before they are in front of a judge, and then there's a process after that. And that's just based on the timeline that our attorneys have predicted for this. It takes a little bit of time to get the appraisal, and then 2 weeks to confirm that with the people. Go ahead.
Yeah, just one other question, and this might be for you or also maybe for Kathy. Our packet, I think the last update we have is actually March. Have we received any invoicing for this calendar year? Because we had goals set for invoicing for April and May that were pretty substantial, and the conversation was if those weren't met, that we had to have a serious conversation. And so the fact that those are zero is concerning.
So I'm not sure what I don't do the accounting for this personally, but I know that we have spent funds. There was a substantial amount of like it was an advance, more or less. About a quarter of the total funds were advanced from the state, and we've been spending both county and state funds, but mostly county funds. So I don't know the details on why you don't have a invoice, but I know that we have been doing stuff and expending funds. We have not been doing construction until the beginning of May, but we don't expect the construction to be a bottleneck for phase 1. For phase 2, it'll depend on the easements. It's a good question about the easements, and we can address that more with the county board.
Ms. Carter.
So do you maybe need more employees to help push with the easements? Like, we don't want to turn this money back in. I think what you and your business have done thus far has been great, but we are on a timeline. So how can we get this moving? Like, what could you do, to make sure that this is completed?
So the number one thing that would make it go faster is that there's a bill in the state legislature
just
right
looked
now
that up.
that would fully resolve the issue.
Right.
So we actually held off on starting the phase 2 easements a little bit to hope that that would get through. And the state government still says that they hope that that will happen this term. I don't, I also don't do that work, and I don't know how they're going to do that, but they say it's important to them. They recognize this problem as a huge one for them as well.
So we need to reach out to our state representative and senator to push this?
Yeah, so Paul is a co-sponsor, Paul Ferracci is a co-sponsor of it. The challenge was the Farm Bureau showing some resistance to it, and we've attempted to do what we can to help move that forward. But yes, absolutely, if you have contacts with primarily rural representatives of rural areas, that's the key. They need to know that this is not taking any rights away that exist. The same rights are maintained. The same people who currently can exercise eminent domain on their property are doing this. It just makes the timeline an easy and smooth, definitive timeline for the providers. So we strongly recommend it. We don't think it's a bad thing for rural areas, and it will increase rural area property values as well.
Okay, and one more question. You mentioned that there were 50 individual resident units that their bill of internet service will be eliminated, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so those units also received, was it tablets?
It's called a wireless access point. It's the transmitter, more or less.
Right. So I'm trying to think back. I was on a task force as well. But was some of them supposed to also get some like handheld devices? I think it was mentioned.
No, I don't remember that ever being part of it.
It was just having access to the internet, Wi-Fi.
And honestly, that hasn't seemed to be a significant limitation. The electronics, handheld and otherwise, seem to be fairly available. Your phone, most phones would use this. Chromebooks from school would use it, that kind of thing. So that has not been something that people have expressed to us a need for. There are state programs that can provide that if it were found to be an issue. There's a state refurbished electronics program, and we'd be happy to, partner with that if there was a demand. But we haven't really seen a demand. We haven't seen people asking for that.
Okay. And how long would that bill be eliminated for those units?
Current plan is 5 years, but it's really supposed to be a permanent thing. So the goal is for it to be permanently eliminated. But the financials are for 5 years.
Okay. And your partnership with the city of Champaign? Okay, that's great.
We hope so. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and because the original plan was to hit 447 units, 447 access points, we're now only using 50 of those for the specific broadband users. We're now opening up those access points to any what would have in the old days been referred to as an anchor institution. I don't know if there's still a current designation for that, but that would be more or less any not-for-profit entity, any entity that's doing community engagement service, and they need a wireless upgrade, or if lower income people we haven't thought about doing it to individuals, but the current plan is to basically make those available to any entity that is that's looking to upgrade their network.
And just one more question. Can you give me your contact person for the city of Champaign?
We've been working with Mark Tolson. He's the current IT director.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for all your hard work in this project. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Chair Locke.
Hi, Peter. Thank you for being here tonight. And I told you we'd be having some questions, so thank you. So what I have a question is, some of the holdout landowners, they're concerned about their drainage tile. And I know that that's the statewide Farm Bureau's concern as well. Can you speak to assurances we have that what happens if the tile is damaged?
Sure. So unlike most rural fiber construction projects, we are not AT&T, where there's a contractor that goes through your property. You have no contact with the people that actually own the fiber, and you have no recourse. With us, when we sign that easement, you have who we are. You have a publicly recorded document that says that we are responsible for the damage that we did. And in the case of we have insurance on file with all of the road commissioners. And so if something happens, we are on the hook to fix it. Now that's great, but our goal really is to not break stuff to the extent we can. So we've worked very closely with all of the drainage districts. We've created the first comprehensive digital map of all the drainage districts that we impact. All of their tiles are in our GIS system. And so we have each of them marked out, and we will identify them beforehand. We also invested in a ground penetrating radar system, so a lot of the tiles that are of concern, nobody knows quite where they are. They know that this tile has good drainage because my grandpa's dad dug by hand this 7 mile long, not 7 mile, his was probably only a mile, this tile and put it in. But nobody knows quite where it is, and it's made of clay, and it's 100 years old. And they know that there was a tree about 50 feet away from it back when it was put in 1897. I've actually seen paper maps drawn that have those kind of details on them, and that's the documentation that a lot of people have of their tile. So if we know that there's a tile in this 200-foot stretch of land, with normal technologies, you cannot reasonably identify it. You hope that after you break it, someone tells you that you broke it and you fix it. We don't like that idea, and farmers don't really like that idea. So we have a ground penetrating radar system, and if someone can tell us that there's a tile in this general area, we can identify that tile using that system, and it can identify basically anything that is a reasonable tile size. It's about 2 inches is its minimum diameter that it can identify. So we're doing some things that are unlike anybody else who we're aware of that's done these projects to facilitate the needs of the property owners and the farm owners, and try and make it easy for them to say yes. It's still not easy in some cases, but that's what we've tried to do. Okay. I guess one more thing. We also make sure to be in contact with them. So if we have their contact info, we reach out to them about 2 weeks before we're going to be going through their area. And if they want to meet us on site and point stuff out, we'll do that. And then if there's anything that we know where it is, we will expose that item, which means we'll use a vacuum excavation system that can't damage pipe, and we'll dig down to it using that system to know exactly where it is, so that we can, with absolute certainty, avoid it. So, yeah.
Okay, and in the hopeful but unlikely eventuality, if the state would pass the law giving this a utility easement instead, those same protections are in place, right? Like any damage caused by VOLO.
Correct.
We'll go towards that, okay.
Yeah, and we actually still end up doing basically the same process. We contact everyone, and they have our information, and they have the information about the project. The only thing that we don't have to do in that scenario is execute an easement unless they want to be paid for us to do it, in which case they agree to it, and then we execute the easement. But it doesn't hold up construction is the thing that the state bill does.
Okay. And then I do want to talk to you just a little bit about the money. So our money came from ARPA, and you know the deadlines for when it has to be spent and all of that. And then on phase 1, there's $7.1 million from the state. Is that also ARPA money, or is that just?
It is ARPA money.
Okay, so that whole project has to go. Okay, so then in phase 2, it's 2A, it's 4.7 million from the county, again, ARPA, and you said it's greater than 3 million from VOLO. Even if you don't get the easements as quickly as you want, is it still possible to spend the 4.7 million from the county?
We believe so, yeah. We believe we'll, so we've already spent some of it with engineering. We have a bunch of RFPs to put out for equipment and materials and that kind of thing. All of that will be spent for sure. The construction is the majority of the funds, but let's say it's probably the minority of the county's funds. So we'll probably spend somewhat over half of the county's funds on engineering, project management, and materials and equipment. And then the remainder of the county's funds will go to construction, and VOLO will cover the rest of the construction.
Whose money is going towards paying for the easements if the landowners wish to be compensated?
It's currently on the budget for the county. We could move it if there's a delay in that part, we could move that.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Aris.
So it's mentioned that there's 50 units that VOLO is donating service for. So does that mean VOLO is the sole service provider of those units?
No, they can always sign up for something else, but they would pay for that.
Okay, so all you're providing is the wireless access point, right? And the router, I assume?
So in the new program, the county and city funds are going to pay for infrastructure to basically to pay for everything that can lower the price of us offering that service down to nearly zero. And now we're able to, and then we are donating the rest of that for the lifespan of the project. So in those 50 units, we're providing everything. In the event that they did not want VOLO's free county housing authority provided internet service, then they would be responsible for whatever it is that they wanted.
So if they did opt in for, VOLO being the service provider, that's secured in the same way that VOLO provides that service to anyone else?
Yeah, it's standard internet service.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions from the board? Go ahead, Mr. Sollard.
In last summer, you came and presented to the task force, and at that time, you were talking about delays in supply chain and delivery holdups. You mentioned more tonight. Are these the same ones held up, or are these different ones that are held up?
I wouldn't say they're held up at this point. The supply chains have been relatively smooth. We had a delay in the fiber delivery, but we have all of that material now. I didn't intend to say that there were delays. We just don't know the exact delivery date for the electronics. It hasn't been.
I guess that's the part I'm asking. You said the electronics and you don't know when they're going to be delivered. So to me, that sounds like we don't know when they're coming, which to me sounds like a delay. So can you shed any light on that?
We're in the process of finalizing the purchasing. So they haven't, in the RFP, it was to be delivered between July 1st and September 30th. And so over the course of that time frame. So we don't say that. But we don't anticipate a problem with that will hold up the project.
In 2B, where we talk about the BEAD funding, and you're indicating that it's becoming increasingly precarious whether that's going to be there from the feds. I've also been seeing lately that the feds are reevaluating whether to issue BEAD funding at all. So is there a contingency plan if that is not available?
There's not really, that project is completely designed around the BEAD program. I don't know what you're referring to about them not issuing BEAD funding at all. They've issued it already to 48 of the states and several territories.
Yeah, discontinuing it, like to the California and Illinois you mentioned have not received it, so discontinuing any further issuance.
I haven't heard that, but I would find that kind of weird, but it's
I agree.
possible.
Here we are.
Yeah. There's no real contingency plan for that at this time. But that, I mean, yeah, I'll say there's no specific contingency plan for that at this time.
The note, the status for 2B says full project completion 2029 to 2030. Can you expand on how the funds that the county is providing via ARPA will, to be paid out this year, we'll get that done in 3 years?
2A is funded by the county, 2B is not funded by the county at all.
Okay. Oh, that's the federal one. Gotcha. Okay. And the state. Okay. I guess just broadly, I think I went to the restroom, but I came back. I think Ms. Furtado was explaining kind of the concern that, we're got 7 months and we got a lot of money we want to shell out and not give back. I think we need to get some firm deadlines. Even tonight, you're telling me there's still RFPs that need to issue, and we're in 7 months. We need some firm deadlines before we might need to make other plans, other arrangements for funds if it's not going to work out with Volo. So we need some tangible deadlines and a plan.
Okay, I'll work with, okay. Sorry.
Furtado.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Kathy and admin, I want weekly updates. I mean, because this is across the board, and this is not just this, we are saying we're spending almost $12 million in ARPA money this year. The only information this board has is that we've spent $326,000 of it. It's a full quarter of the money. This is over $6 million, so we're talking $1 million a month has to be spent. And like, when I say spent, like spent, like we have to have the last invoice from Volo and have had paid them, or we have to send it back. So we're talking like, by the end of December, we have to have these, or the beginning of December, we'd have to have these bills. So like, we need, like the last update we have on here is, it says March 31st. We need more immediate updates and like way more specifics. Like numbers on paper type of specifics. Because if not, we have to decide what we're gonna do, because I really don't want to have to give any of this money back. $4.7 million is more than 10% of everything we got. I don't want to have to go back to our taxpayers and say, oh, we couldn't quite spend it. And there is no indication that the feds are gonna expand that deadline. None.
Ms. Carter.
And not trying to pour any salt on you or your business, but I can remember leaving the meeting when we awarded you the contract, and there were some people that was walking out the same time I was and said that they would be here if we needed them. So I'm just asking you, do you think that you're at a point where maybe you could ask for help and have other people, more people, so we can expedite this a little quicker, a little faster,
I'm happy to go back to the drawing board on this, but we're not financially strapped. We're not logistically
But I'm asking,
strapped.
do you need more manpower? Do you need more people on your team to help with these easements, help with the communication? That's what I'm asking.
We are bringing more people on, and we've been growing throughout the process to have the right number of people to do it. I honestly don't think we do, but I think I'll reserve that decision for a conversation that I obviously need to have further with the county, and come up with a plan that gives you guys a strong sense of confidence.
We would really appreciate that. And I just, don't never feel like you're alone. If you need help, let us know so we can, we got 7 months, but I mean, any way that we can help push this along, I'm pretty sure that people will be willing to work with you. So,
all right, appreciate
thank you.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Further questions from the board? At this time, at least. Thank you, Mr. Falk. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving on with our amended agenda. We are with the resolution between the FOP and Sheriff's Department. So, Emily, would the Labor Committee Chair like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 1? I know, sorry.
18B1.
Helpfully labeled Labor Committee. Okay, I move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-112, approving the agreement between the Champaign County Board, the Sheriff of Champaign County, and the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Court Security Officers between January 1st, 2026 and December 31st, 2028.
Okay, do we have a second for that? Second by Farney. Discussion. The sheriff is here if people have specific questions. I'm not seeing any discussion. So all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, communications. Members of the board have communications to share. Few.
Thank you. Once again, Douglas Park from 1 to 6 this coming Sunday. Marlo Coleman will be putting on his event, the anti-gun violence event. Let's see, free food, bouncy houses, usually a piñata, games trailer, face painters. People just show up and start doing stuff. They just always help. It's a good community event, Douglas Park. Show up. I know a few of us will be there, and enjoy the time outside. Thanks.
All right, seeing no further communications, on to approval of minutes. If there's no objection, can I get an omnibus motion to approve the minutes of March 26, 2026 and April 23rd, 2026? Okay, motion by Cagle. Do I have a second? Second by Sollard. All right, motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Summary of action taken at the May 7th, 2026 meeting of Environment and Land Use is received and placed on file. We have neither chair nor vice chair of ELUC, so.
I have the motion.
You have the motion? All right, thank you.
Thank you. I move to approve ordinance number 2026-11, amending the zoning ordinance for a 6-month temporary moratorium extension on carbon sequestration activities in zoning case 202 AT26.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Lokshin. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Sorry, question, yes.
I just wanted to mention the reason this is not on the consent agenda is because I voted against it in committee. The reason I voted against it in committee was I shared similar feelings that a couple of members of the ZBA had, and that was we needed to see some action from this task force. That was communicated to the task force. They are moving forward on things, and we expect them to be done with this within the 6 months that we're extending. So I will be voting in favor of this tonight, but I just wanted the rest of the board to know that we had a discussion with the task force and said we need to be doing this, we need to be moving it along. We're going to be facing the same thing when it comes to the data centers as well. We need to be proactive and get this done in a timely fashion.
Your lock.
Thank you, JJ. You took some of my thunder. I have prepared statements that have been given to me by Mr. Thorsland, I assume. But also, the county board approved a 12-month temporary safety moratorium. We're just going to explain this to anybody watching at home, because a lot of people do take interest in why hasn't this moved on. And we approved it on January 23rd, 2025, extended the moratorium by 6 months in December 18th of 25. That extension ends June 18th. The Zoning Board of Appeals met April 30th, and they were frustrated, as Mr. Farney noted, and we in ELUC were as well. They've recommended denial in a vote of 2-2 because of how this wasn't going on. The ZBA found the proposed text amendment was necessary to achieve the goals of the Champaign County Land Resource Management Plan and the Champaign County zoning ordinance, but 2 members of the ZBA were frustrated with the process of the task force. At the ELEC meeting on May 7th, the committee voted 4-1 with 1 member absent to recommend approval of this text amendment. The next carbon sequestration's activity task force meeting has been scheduled. It will be on June 3rd, 2026. It's hoped at that time that the task force can make a final recommendation at that meeting. You might note that later in this meeting, I've appointed myself to that so that we can be certain to meet quorum. The purpose of the proposed text amendment will be included in the ELEC agenda for the June 4th, 2026, and the ELEC members have already been provided copies of it so that it will go to the Activities Task Force the 3rd, it will go to ELEC on the 4th, and then it will be pushed off to ZBA. They'll deal with it as soon as they can get to it. We don't have meetings in July except for full board. It will go back to ELEC once ZBA is done with it, and then it will come to us here on this board. All of this has to be done within 6 months, and that is why it's pedal to the metal at this point, but this will be the last extension. The members of ELEC were very clear. ZBA was very clear. Carbon Sequestration Activities Task Force understands. So this is the end for it. This will require a roll call and 12 affirmative votes. Mr. Hall is available if there are questions, but I think between my venting and JJ's, y'all get the idea.
Further questions? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Crane.
Yes.
Yes.
Portado. Lockshin.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Sullard.
Yes.
Eris.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right. Moving onward, summary of action taken May 12th at the Committee of the Whole meetings received and placed on file. Next 2 items are from the April Cal meeting. Would the finance chair like to make the committee's recommendation? That would be me, unless the chair would like to read it.
The vice chair is
Vice chair. JJ, you're on.
I move adoption of resolution number 2026-90, approving budget transfer BUA 2025/12/1705, Fund 2091 Animal Control Department 047 Animal Control Administration, 247 Animal Warden Services, 248 Animal Impound Services, amount $478.66. Reason, transfer to cover unanticipated costs for fiscal year 2025.
Is there a second? Second, Locke. All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Crane.
Yes.
Varney.
Yes.
Portado.
Yes.
Lockshin.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Sullard.
Yes.
Eris.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Motion passes. Would the finance vice chair like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 2?
I move adoption of resolution number 2026-91, approving budget amendment BUA 2026/3/302, Fund 2632, Circuit Clerk Electronic Citations, Department 030, Circuit Clerk, increased appropriations $58,000, increased revenue 0. Reason, appropriation to cover upcoming costs for the implementation of e-citations.
Is there a second? Mr. Scholl. All right, would the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Crane.
Yes.
Varney.
Yes.
Furtado.
Yes.
Lockshin.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Solard.
Yes.
Aris.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, again, moving on. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-116, establishing salaries of countywide elected officials? Motion by Farney. Have a second. Second by Cagle. Discussion. Mr. Farney.
Yeah, we need to put some numbers into the chart there, so I'm going to propose the following: that the salary of the county executive be set at $95,548.69. The salary of the county clerk be set at $116,234, and the county treasurer be set at $116,234, and those amounts remain the same for the entirety of the term.
Is there a second? Second by Rodriguez. Have a motion and a second. Ms. Carter?
So that's basically just disregarding what constituents have asked us not to do, and that's increase the executive salary. Like, that's wrong. Like, how we just, and she in particular, played with county employees about their 3% raise, that's a slap in the face, JJ. No good. So I'll be voting no for that.
Further questions, comments? Mr. Pugh?
Yeah, I'll be voting no for this also. It's just too much a raise. We are in financial straits. This is a $25,000 raise. This is half a person's salary at the county for a lot of our positions. You know, we're asking people to cut back personnel. We're asking to cut back services. You know, I could be for like a 3% raise or what our actual employees are getting. You know, February 10th, the News Gazette, there was an article from both candidates for this position, and they said they were fine with the current salary, which is about $72,600. We have a lot of people in this county that deserve a lot more money in a lot of different positions spread out everywhere. We cannot pay them all. We just can't do it, you know. And that's why I put out that whole thing about the statutory responsibilities. You know, if our county executive is doing too much, maybe they scale it back a little bit to fall more in line. I'll let somebody else go. I'll come back around. Thank you.
Member Locke.
I need to consult the two smartest people about Robert's rules here, because with a amendment on the floor, I don't know if I can move to split the question, because it definitely seems as though we need to discuss each of these salaries individually, and it might be the most organized way of doing it to split it into three separate.
Ms. Furtado.
You can move to separate anything, and including an amendment. You need a second. There's no discussion. It's a simple majority vote.
I move to separate the question so that we can discuss the clerk recorder, the treasurer, and the executive separately.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second to that amendment? Ms. Rogers is a second. All right. Let's go ahead and do a roll call on this. You said this is simple majority? Could you do a roll call for this, please, clerk?
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Cowart.
Yes.
Crane.
Yes.
Farney.
No.
Furtado.
No.
Lockshin.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
No.
Rogers.
Yes.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
No.
Solard.
No.
Aris.
No.
Locke.
Yes.
I count the ayes have it. Is that what you have?
Yep.
All right. All right, so we're dividing this into three separate questions. The first salary that was listed was the executive, so let's start with the executive salary then.
Seems like, could we just have somebody ask for an amendment and like, this is what I want for the executives and do it that way instead of just a lit review
No, we have, there's a motion on the
for
floor.
all three?
No, we right now.
Okay, we're spreading, okay, got it. I don't need it, I got it.
Yeah. Real quick, point of order, so everybody understands what we're talking about. We are specifically talking about JJ's amendment for the executive, which JJ is going to say what that dollar amount is again.
$95,548.69.
And that is it. That is what we're discussing, that amendment right now, nothing else.
Mr. Sollard.
Well, I have a friendly amendment I want to offer for the resolution itself. The last now therefore lists the wrong offices. So we just need to correct. It says, now therefore be it resolved, circuit clerk, auditor, coroner, county board chair, we just need to correct that. So it's not relevant to the specific county executive portion, that's for the whole resolution, but if that's acceptable to all of the amendments, then I'd like to make it a friendly motion.
Okay, we have a friendly amendment on the floor, second by Ms. Rodriguez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Sollard. All right, the amendment on the floor now is for JJ's amendment for the executive salary. We're discussing just the salary amount. Ms. Carter.
I think there should be a 3% wage increase, and that's it.
Ms. Aris.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I agree with the 3%, and I would put it on the mean of where the minimum for grade L is, which would be about 80,975, but I would want it to be 81,000 for that, for the county executive part.
Mr. Sollard.
I just have a question about, before we got the county executive form of government, we had the county administrator that was handling much of the role of the county executive. So I wonder if someone could tell us what the county administrator was making before we voted that way.
My recollection, it was 136. I believe that's the general range though, yeah.
And right now, we're paying our current county executive 72 and change?
Yes, started out 70 and I've had half of the CPI for each year. That's the increase.
Okay. I would support the 95 number. I think it makes sense to put it on par with the other countywides, the lower level of the countywides. I don't know if I want to make this a formal amendment right now, but I would also encourage the CPI raises to continue. I'm not going to die on that hill if we don't like that, if we want to freeze it, but I think and I would say that for all three of these positions. In terms of the number itself, I would support the 95 number.
Ms. Furtado.
This is mostly just a point of information because I've heard a lot of folks talk about 3%. Like, that is not what the CPI was for the elected officials. And so I wanted to take a moment to read, because I think what you're suggesting is that we just continue that sort of evergreen revolution that we had before. Or are you suggesting full CPI?
I was suggesting that half CPI that went into effect with the 2022 ordinance and was, I don't know that it was impacted or changed by the 2024 resolution, but the half CPI.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was, yeah, it was definitely, because it was like supposed to be an evergreen kind of thing.
Yeah, I know some of them were changed, but the ones that were not on the 24 cycle, they're still looped in with that, right?
Yes.
Did we not just rescind the evergreen completely in the process of
Oh, yeah,
the
because we
last ones?
decided it wasn't legal. Yeah, we decided that because the state statute says we have to do this, like, that we couldn't make it yeah. All right, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood. It's like a pretty complicated language. It's like half of CPI, and then there's like a thing like it can never be more than 3%. So I guess if CPI was 6, they could never get more than 3. Yeah. In last week's discussion, there was some indication that some board members thought that that CPI was referring to half of the employees' raises. No, it is just straight out consumer price index. I went back and read the resolution after that discussion because I was like, no, they're not tagged together. And I know some board members thought that that's what it was, but it's not. It's just actual CPI.
Go ahead, Mr. Cagle.
So I think just for my clarification here, if we wanted to build in some sort of evergreen piece to this, we would have to vote on that tonight and decide on what percentage per year for the entire term. If we wanted to make that and set that in place, we couldn't peg it to CPI because obviously we don't know CPI in the future. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think Ms. Furtado has the best answer, though.
So what we determined in a subsequent meeting is that we cannot use the word evergreen because we, by state statute, have to do this so many months before the elected people. So it's evergreen in terms, like our thought was, this board was like, you know what? What if we just tie it to CPI and we never have to vote again? And then people were like, yep, you can't do that. You have to discuss this every 4 years because it's the most fun thing to discuss on earth. And we were like, oh, great. So I wouldn't say evergreen. It would just be whatever. If we wanted to put in some sort of COLA raise, it would just be for the lifespan of these specific individuals for 4 years.
You're long.
All right. So $95,000 is a fair wage for this position. And we are broke, and $95,000 is an over $20,000 increase per year to the salary that's being paid right now. And I've sat in at least a dozen meetings where we talked to department heads, and we said, we need a 2% cut across the board. And you can't do that with commodities because we don't have enough in spent on commodities. So we're telling department heads, we're telling the bosses, including this boss, we're telling them you have to plan to cut staff or furlough staff or lay someone off or find the money somewhere. And we're looking to raise this salary. It's not a fair salary. It's absolutely, what it is right now is not a fair salary. Anybody who's in this room that sat on that board and lowered it to 70,000 has a lot of explaining to do for why it hasn't been fair for 4 years. But it's also not fair to look in the eyes of our employees who do the work on a daily basis and say, yeah, but we're going to give this raise. Some of you are going to lose your jobs, but we're going to give this raise. So yes, it's fair, and I'm going to vote against a raise to $95,000.
Michelle.
Yeah, I guess so. The new guy has a couple questions. What's the consequence of not paying it the fair market rate? We have someone that's elected that said they were willing to do it, but it's also like remove personality, people, whatever. There's this position here that we are paying under market value, but we also don't have any money. I've watched just about every board meeting on YouTube. I've taken advantage of that before I got sworn in. So now I'm here. But I would love to kind of hear people that have been around here a little longer than me. What's the consequence of not having it be at the fair market? And can we weigh that consequence versus budget cuts, laying people off, other people's raises going forward? What are we looking at here? Kind of, if we give one person this raise, will it affect our ability to get good people to try to be the next county executive next time this comes up, versus how is this going to affect morale and staffing going forward, not at the executive level?
Mr. Pugh.
I'll just speak to that question. I think we had two really good qualified candidates this time around, and we actually had a third person that was interested in looking at it too. After those two jumped in, they kind of backed off. So I think we have a pretty good chance. Like I said before, both these people said that they were fine with the salary as it was.
Ms. Rodriguez, you're next.
Thanks. Chair Locke's point, I think we can say both. That's why we pay these department chairs the big bucks to make hard decisions when budget cuts come up. I think, to me, this is about parity. I think if we're to look at the job description of the county executive and what the role has, we've seen it grown to become. I think to evaluate the office as anything less than 95, I think we would have a hard time justifying it. I personally am uncomfortable with offering the justification for optics as the major reason why we would not do this. The other thing that I would add is that we need to think about this differently than an entire class of employees, right? This is a raise for one person, and it would adjust, and it would put this finally on fair footing with the other offices and treat it as the counterpart to the board that it is.
Ms. Carter.
To get back to your question, the salary was set higher, okay? This was before the executive office has grown to what it is right now, okay? So there's less ease on the county executive, for one, is the reason why I don't think there should be an increase. And for two, watching this board and how it moves, they did that deliberately because they did not want the previous executive to run again. Okay? And so because Steve, and he even mentioned this at the last meeting, because he was also receiving a retirement check that he
We're discussing the salary amount. That's the amount that we need to be talking about.
Please do not interrupt me.
I am the chair.
do not interrupt
I am
you.
the chair, and
He has two
Ms. Carter, you're out of
and so
order.
he kept
You're
it
out
at
of order. We're
70,000.
discussing the salary amount. That's what we're discussing.
I'm trying to give him some context to what we're talking about.
I understand, but you're digressing past where we're going to go.
If we're telling people to
Ms.
cut
Carter,
their
you're
budgets
out of
and
order.
you may have to cut employees, you should not be
out of
giving a
order.
$25,000 increase to anybody's salary. And that's where I stand on that, Steve.
Ms.
Thank
Lockshin.
you.
I'm sorry, I don't know if this is an appropriate question to factor into decisions or how this is determined, but I am curious what the plan is for like the current Director of Administration salary, whether that will be cut from the budget for the executive office, whether that can be factored into payment for county executive, because the duties will be shifting. Like, I'm not sure what the setup of the office will be and if that can be a consideration, or I guess if it is a consideration, how to figure that in.
Okay. Go ahead, JJ. Oh, sorry, Mr. Sollard, then JJ.
I want to remind everybody to keep the people out of it. I keep hearing about there were two candidates that said they'd accept it. That's completely irrelevant to the discussion here. The right way to frame this, I think partially Mr. Rodriguez talked about it, about it's one spot, not a class. But also, the reason I asked the question about what was the administrator making before is because if we were hiring this job right now, how would we be marketing it? What would be the salary point we'd want to offer to get the best quality person? That's how we need to be thinking about what to pay this role. I also really appreciate the suggestion that maybe we move, if possible, we move this to earlier in the schedule. I think that's a great idea that could avoid some of this. But that's the lens that I'm trying to think about. If we were hiring this, what sort of salary do we think would get us a quality person to apply for the job? So that's, I think 130 is what we were paying. 95 is a deal. That's a bargain for the quality person we want to be county executive. That's a deal.
Mr. Barney.
Yeah, a couple of things. This afternoon, Mr. Pugh shared the statutory duties of the county executive's office. And right away, here in the statute, something that just jumped out at me and says to me, yeah, we are not compensating this position appropriately, is coordinate and direct by executive order or otherwise all administrative and management functions of the county except offices of elected county officers. That's a huge responsibility. It's a large number of employees. That's daily operation of county government. The person who is doing this should be compensated at a level expected of department heads and other elected officials. There are many department heads that currently are earning above what the county executive earns. There are many subordinates in county offices that are earning above what the county executive does. $95,548 is the dollar amount that we pay the county coroner and the county auditor. One of those two offices right now, I know, is not doing near the amount of work that the county executive is doing. It's a travesty that we would even consider not paying the county executive at a salary equal to that office. We can address that in 2 years. The duties of that office have changed, and we can address that appropriately. The duties of the county executive office require that we justly compensate the person for the job we expect. If we're going to expect the county executive to actually lead this county, they need to be paid for it. And so that is why I support that, and I agree with Mr. Sollard. If we were hiring a county executive 130, we wouldn't be touching anybody at 130. We'd be looking at closer to $200,000 a year for a county this size and operations this size. Much closer to what we pay the director of the Regional Planning Commission. Okay? We, for decades, when this board was controlled by Republicans in the late 90s and early 2000s, and then after it was controlled by Democrats, it doesn't matter what party it was. Champaign County has been behind on paying high-level employees, and we got lucky for that. We need to do the right thing, and the right thing is to pay this position. This is the director of county government. This is the glue that holds everything together. And I also agree, I've already put something in my calendar for October of 2027. That's when we need to be addressing this, before petitions are filed. I agree.
Pugh had his hand, and then you next.
Oh, yes. And if you look at Will County, the other county executive, they're getting paid $99,000. They do not have a county board chair, so that person takes all that responsibility. They do not have a strong director of administration that does as much rules. So they're kind of taking over that position too. So if I'm looking apples to apples, you know, Will County has money. They can pay a whole lot more if they wanted to, but they're not. So that's what I'm looking at this too. And I do have a question from a constituent, and they asked, what does the incoming county executive think about this, or what are their thoughts?
Look, we're talking about salary now, and we just went through that
Salary.
earlier.
I'd like to call the question.
We have a motion to call the question and a second. This is voting on the motion to set the executive salary at $90,000. Is it 548? 90, okay.
95, 548, 69 a year for the entirety of the term.
All right, that motion is on the floor. Is there a second? Oh, we already had a second, sorry. Motion and a second. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Are we voting to?
This is voting in the affirmative. That's what the motion is.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, this is to vote to call the question, yes. I had asked for a roll call, but, okay, yeah, if you would.
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter.
No.
Goert. Braid.
Yes. Yes.
Farty.
Yes.
Furtado.
Yes.
Lockchin.
Yes.
Pugh.
No.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Sollard.
Yes.
Harris.
No.
Locke.
No, because Ms. Carter's hand was raised.
Need a 2/3 majority to, it's 10-5.
Vote on his, on the vote.
Call on the actual amendment.
Can we clarify the amendment just one more time, please?
Yes, this is to set the salary for the county executive at $95,548.69 per year for the entirety of the term.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter.
No.
Cowart. Braden.
Yes.
Yes.
Portado.
Yes.
Lokshin.
Yes.
Pugh.
No.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
No.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Sullard.
Yes.
Iris.
No.
Locke.
No.
Motion passes. Excuse me. Motion passes. All right. The other two portions, we now have the discussion on the salary for the clerk.
Yeah, just to reiterate, the salary for the clerk would be $116,234 per year for all 4 years of the term.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Just to clarify, oh, sorry, I haven't called on.
Sullard.
Forgot to get called on first, sorry. Does that keep it flat from where it is today?
Yes, it does.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. And lastly, the treasurer's salary. JJ, would you repeat your amount, please?
Sure. The county treasurer's salary would be set at $116,234 per year for all 4 years of the term.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Chair Locke. We have a motion, a second. Is there discussion? Mr. Sullard?
Same question, just to put it on the record, is that keeping it flat for all 4 years?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-117?
No, wait.
We've got
Point of
the,
order, we have not
amended.
yet voted on the motion.
Oh, the motion
All
for the
we have
whole
voted
package.
on is
That's right.
the
Individual
amendments.
pieces. You're
So
correct.
now the individual pieces have amended that blank piece of paper
Okay.
to have numbers on it. Now we are back at it again. Folks that left could have talked now, but they left. So there you go.
All right. All right, we've agreed on the 3 salaries that were being set individually. So do we need a separate motion now for the composite of the 3?
Does that go back to my original motion?
Back to your original motion then?
Yes.
All right, we're back to the original motion that has.
I'd like to
a
call the question.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to call the question. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Cagle.
Yes.
Carter. Cowart.
Yes.
Crane.
Yes.
Farney.
Yes.
Furtado.
No.
Lokshin.
No.
Pugh. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Shell.
Yes.
Sexton.
Yes.
Sullard,
Yes.
Iris,
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, now moving on. Can I get a motion?
Now we need to vote on
That was calling the question.
Question. Now we actually have to vote on
we
the thing.
did call the question.
Mike on.
All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, for the third time, trying to move on. Can I get a
Remember,
motion?
we amended the motion, the
Right, yeah,
agenda.
point of order, actually. I pulled the one off of consent. It goes here.
Oh,
So number
I'm
4.
Sorry, I thought when you said salary, I wasn't sure if you wanted a salary of the countywides or salary of the board.
My motion was to put it as number 4 in this
Okay,
section.
all right. I misunderstood you. I was looking right after that. All right. Then, in that case, then, motion to approve adoption of Resolution 2026-103, approving an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement by and between County of Cook, Illinois, and the Board of Trustees of the University of Illinois and the County of Champaign, Illinois. Got a motion from Chair Locke, second from Mr. Scholl. Did I see that? Okay. Is there discussion? Mr. Sullard.
I'm going to abstain from this vote because I work for the office that advises the Board of Trustees.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now for the fourth time. I'd like to get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-117, establishing the per diem rate for county board members and the salary for the county board chair. Motion by J.J. Farney, second. Okay, second by Mr. Crane. Discussion. Mr. Farney.
We need to put some numbers into the blank spots, so I did some research again. And after our discussion last week at Committee of the Whole, I went back and looked at every AFSCME general unit contract from between the last time we set the county board salary and today. And if the county board salaries had increased by these same increases that AFSCME received, the appropriate wage for a county board would be $99.97 per meeting. So I am going to propose that we fill in the blanks at $100 per meeting for all of the county board blanks on that. There's 4 spots, 2 for the folks being elected this year, 2 for the folks being elected in 2028. So I'm proposing we put $100 in each of those blanks. And for the county board chairman's salary, a sum of $15,000 per year.
Okay, we have that on the floor. Second, okay, second by Mr. Cagle. A motion and a second. Discussion. Jenny?
Can I ask my question again from before? Is the Director of Administration salary going to remain in the office? And is that something, because I would personally like to consider that during the budget process, reduction of that salary and or elimination of the position, which would free that money up in the budget for things like salary increases for the board and also the executive.
Can I address that from the Finance Committee?
Mr. Farney.
So that is absolutely something that should be discussed during the budget process. We can consider every position, we can consider every dollar at the budget time. So I would absolutely entertain us looking at that and talking with the people that are in the executive's office and seeing what they think the appropriate plan should be for the next year, but that's something for in the budget process.
Thank you. Yeah, that factors into my decision-making about this position, though, so I appreciate, because I asked that before, and I don't know if I didn't phrase it as a question, but it didn't get an answer, so.
It's to your concern about making a decision now, I would just also remind the board, you still retain the funded line item of the county administrator for $130,000 in your county board budget every year. So if your concern is making these adjustments without actually increasing the overall budget, I would recommend that you just plan to allocate portions of that money to cover the difference that you could be approving tonight.
Sherlock.
I support raising our per diem. I realize I've said we can't raise anything, but we have several members with young children, and you lose money to pay a babysitter to come here. We've had members have to leave early because of childcare issues. Reasonable rate at Illinois' minimum wage, which we don't want people paying below that. You need to be able to pay a sitter to come to these meetings. When you factor in caucus and however long we go, $100 a meeting is fair, and it still puts us well below literally every other county on the 16-county list that we've been looking at as our peers. But at least we'll be able to recruit people that won't be having to leave early because of childcare. So the county board chair issue is different, though, because that price, the rate was set very many years ago before we even had a county executive. Back then, the board chair had more duties, had more to do. I sit in this role, and I will always undervalue my time. I get that, but also $15,000 for this in the terms of the money that we have to spend. I think $12,000 is fine. $1,000 a month stipend to go and glad hand and sit on literally every committee and talk to people in the community with more frequency, I think is a fine stipend. Yeah, absolutely, raising it in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world, and I think that keeping it where it is fine for the board chair salary as well. But to quote Mr. Sellard last time, I won't die on that hill. It won't be me earning that money.
It's Furtado.
I do want to point out, despite what a board member who left said, there is a board chair in Will County. It is a part-time board chair, as most board chairs are, and they make $23,000 a year with a county executive. So 12 is, I mean, less, well, it's about half. So I did want to throw that out there. I mean, I appreciate, Jen, you've had the role, so I take what you say, you know, I think that's an important perspective. But we are paying like half of Will County, which is the only other county that's similar. So just for the record, Will County has a board chair.
Speak to that really quickly. Will County pays all of their 22-member board $23,000, though. So it's not, I don't think that's an addition to or on top of. Each of their 22 board members earns $23,000 a year. And isn't that nice?
Go ahead, Michelle.
Just for historical context, the board chair salary was $24,000 when you had a county administrator, and when transitioned to county executive, it was, the assumption was there would be significantly less duties, and so it was cut in half at that point, and that's how it got to $12,000. Just providing you some context for how we got where we are.
Further discussion. Jenny.
I feel like this is probably a silly question for somebody who's been on the board as long as I have. Does the board chair also get the meeting pay in addition to the $12,000? Oh, okay.
Yes.
More questions from the board? Okay, motion on the floor is to raise the per diem $100 per member and the board chair salary. Go ahead.
I can't even believe I'm about to ask this. Do you want to sever the question, or are you okay voting it together?
Reading the room, I don't see a need to sever the question. I'm reading the room. I'm not going to make us take 17 extra votes. We're good. It'll go. I'll even vote for it.
All right. Motion on the floor is the $100 per diem for county board members and the salary for the board chair at $15,000. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion carries.
That was the amendment.
All right. Long night, folks. All right. Amendment on the floor for this portion is, again, for $100 per diem, $15,000 for board chair. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-107, authorizing payment of claims? Shell and Furtado, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-108, purchases not following purchase policy? Okay, moved by Cagle, second by Scholl. Discussion? Stephanie?
So just out of clarification, did this come from the auditor? Is that, where did this, how did this get on the agenda? Yeah.
This was produced by the auditor as one of his duties. He did produce it. The auditor also received information from finance staff relating to several items that should be included on the, in this submission. Those are not included. This was not submitted by finance staff. This was just produced by the auditor.
Yeah, so I'll be voting no for all of those reasons. I mean, we've discussed this multiple times. This is a very clear case of a sole service provider. Nobody else had that knowledge, so I'm going to vote no on this, even more so now that I know that there's things that should be on it that aren't, but this is on it and shouldn't be. So this is a farce, and I vote no on farces.
I would just agree. I had a note previously questioning whether it was actually out of policy, and I'm glad to hear that I was the only one. So I'll be a no on it as well.
Further questions, comments? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Point of order, real quick.
Of course.
No, I gotta ask,
Mr. Frank.
has this bill already been paid? It doesn't look like it had, because it's not from an elected official.
It's from the county executive's office.
Oh, okay, because since they didn't put the star on it that says.
He just refuses to acknowledge us as the county executive's office.
So, okay, now I understand.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, same.
I want to say nay.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion fails. All right, adoption of Resolution 2026-109, approving contract award for authority for road striping 2026. Moved by Lorraine, second by Sexton to Transportation Committee members. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-111, appointing county board members to committee positions previously held by Eric Thorsland? Chair Locke, second by Jamala. Any discussion? Chair Locke.
I need to fill in the blank. I finally found somebody to serve on the broadband task force. So where we have blanks in the final whereas and in the now therefore be it resolved, Will Shell has agreed to serve on the broadband task force in Eric Thorsland's stead. He is a very wonderful man for agreeing finally. Thank you. Nobody tell him not to. So I move to amend in that regard.
Move to amend, second by Mr. Sullard. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We have a amended amendment. All in favor of the recently amended amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Kathy, I feel almost sorry, but we have pushed you to the front multiple times, so
Yeah, thank you. We included the regular updates, and we're communicating with some of these agencies that still have funds to spend, and of course, there's different end dates. And we may possibly add a column in the tracking spreadsheet, because what we do is where it says March 31st is actual, that's when the transaction has cleared the financials, but we may also add a column to say we've requested payment, to say that what's in process, but it hasn't cleared the transactions yet. But just something we might add to that.
Stephanie.
Okay, I have several questions. First, I believe the iRead account is just on a calendar. Crime Stoppers, or am I wrong? Maybe I think I'm reading this right. I'm really bad at this. Is Crime Stoppers still at $48,000?
Yes, and there's about $2,000 that we could pay out, and we've asked for the specific information on how they can spend it by their contract end.
I mean, we've been at about this dollar amount since 2023, so I think we need to direct them, like we need a plan in writing to this board by June, or we're moving it.
We did ask for that for this month, their plan.
Okay, and okay. Then the next one that I have concern about is, I believe First Followers will expend their money. Sleep, we have reduced it. Have there been any movement?
Yeah, so we requested a payment in the past 3 weeks. I'd have to look at the amount, but there has been another payment. Yeah.
Okay. Next, because I'm going to ask about the internal stuff too, the digitization project.
Yeah, we have gotten all of our remaining invoices and actually have spent all of it. We just haven't paid the final payment, but it is gone.
Next, coroner's office, $55,000.
We are waiting for, I believe, well, actually, I think something was delivered and it was broken, and so it had to be sent back. Doesn't that sound, or they sent the wrong thing?
We actually have invoices that have just been paid or already in process. It'll show up on the next month, I believe, for that, so.
Next, there's a suite of about $90K from the IT for various things.
I just talked with MC about that, I think about a week ago. He has plans for all of it, cybersecurity, laptops, and he is very well aware of the deadlines and the concern that it has not been spent.
The Sheriff's Office jail project still has $800,000, a little bit less than.
So we keep pulling from that when other facility bills get paid. Yep.
Okay, and we're confident that we will spend that. Sorry, sometimes it's. Okay, I think this one is Treasurer's Office.
Yeah, so we actually just also updated on that one. We are waiting on a few more invoices from Munis to make sure we have covered all of that. And then that should be taken care of as well.
I believe the $150,000.
And actually, sorry, a big portion of that one was things were being billed to CARF when they should have been billed to that, and we just realized that. So there's immediately a $30,000 chunk that's getting reclassified right now.
Okay. The next one is the RPC rental assistance. I believe we just moved that money into the
That's the money we
fund.
moved from sleep.
Do we have a projection on that expenditure?
It has to be spent by September 30th by contract, but they plan for this summer, I thought. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to cooling assistance, isn't it? Yeah.
There's not a lot of money in immigrant service organizations yet, but I believe, are they aware that they still have money on that contract?
Actually, we're in process of sending the final payment out, so they're getting it spent. Yeah.
There's a little bit of money left in e-commerce, $25K.
E-commerce.
That's the chamber program. I can double check with Laura. I know she was still planning on spending it, but I can double check again.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Steve this question because it's his favorite question on earth. The EDC Low Hurdle Grant Program.
Carly gave me assurances this afternoon, and I've had assurances before,
Yeah,
but I believe
we've been to be leaving.
She said next week she will have the numbers. She has had some staff issues, and she's given assurances as of today that the money will be dispersed by the end of this month.
Okay, if that money isn't dispersed by
I've
the end of,
informed her as such.
by the June meeting, I recommend we move it, because, I mean,
She's
we've been
aware.
having assurances since 2023, so.
I issued well, let's not call it a threat, but I told her that if it was not spent, if we didn't have some money spent by the end of May, the board was going to pull the amount.
Have we, okay, next, have we received any invoice from the Champaign County or City of Champaign? Because I'm real close to making some like protest signs and like walking around that building if they don't send us our bill.
So they did send additional data, but not everything that we need yet. It's just a couple more things they need to send.
All right, I would escalate that to the board is saying if we don't hear from them by June and you get what you need, that the board is going to have a serious conversation about that $2 million. Because they've been saying that they're going to invoice on that for like 18 months now.
And part of it is the reporting. We just have to have it. So.
Right. Which, I mean, they should be fully aware of because they have their own ARPA money. So if anybody on this list should be aware of what needs to be done for reporting. So, and thank you for all your work trying to get these people to spend this money. And then Sangamon Valley Water District still has $90,000 left.
So we have asked multiple times. I can ask again. They indicate they would spend. So I can try one more time and.
Yeah, I think we need to try one more time, and then I think we need on that one too. We said at this meeting that we were going to tell people, like this was the meeting where we were supposed to decide to move money. So I feel like we're being really generous, but like I think in June, give us a bill, or I bet a bunch of these other water districts could have spent this money by now.
That's fine. Kathy and I need you to actually stick to that in June, because if we go out and tell them that, and then in June comes and you're like, well, let's give them another.
No.
It doesn't work, so.
No, I mean, like if we're going to move $90,000 to another water project, I don't even know if we can do that, but like we would have to do that in June so that they could spend it and give us bills during this construction cycle. Again, I just want to reiterate, we still have $11 million, almost $12 million. It's more than 10% of our money. That number has to change by the next meeting, because this is making me not sleep. So I don't know how to make people understand you have to spend the money we gave you, but there's no more grace. There's no more, we could kick it down the road. We have 6 months, because we have to have those bills by December. We have to pay the people, and we only cut checks so often. So I would say like by December 1st, this just $11,600,000 needs to be spent by December 1st.
Further questions of Kathy?
Also, thank you very much for your work. I know you have, short of going to people's houses, I know you've really tried to get them to spend their money.
Thank you. You've done an excellent job. Appreciate your time tonight as well. Thank you. All right. Would the opioid settlement chair like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
Sure. I move for adoption of resolution number 2026-113, approving a subaward agreement between the County of Champaign and Sangamon Valley Fire Protection District.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Is this pointing or giving a second? Well, John, you're behind Ed, so Ed is ahead of you, so Ed gets this. So Ed is the second. Is there any discussion?
One point to make. This is not even a new award of money. We had awarded the money to buy equipment. They actually got a better deal, so they asked if they could spend the overage that was left over on some more equipment. And we'd already awarded it to them for something else. So yes, do more good with it. And this was a unanimous vote on the task force.
All right. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Would the opioid settlement chair like to make committee's recommendation for item number 2?
Sure. I move for adoption of resolution number 2026-114, approving an intergovernmental subaward agreement between the County of Champaign and the Champaign County Sheriff's Office.
Would anyone like to call the question? Maybe a friendly amendment? Any? All right, Mr. Cagle has the second. All right. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We have no further business, so.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do, excuse me, Mr.
Resolution
Thorsland.
honoring Mr. Thorsland.
Well, we don't have cake. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-115 honoring County Board Member Eric No Cake Thorsland? All right, motion by Locke. Is there a second? Second by Lockshin. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Eric, I hope you're watching this. I hope you sat through this.
I plan to deliver a signed copy with cake.
All right. All right. Now, the meeting is adjourned. We have no further business. Thank you.